Hello friends, today we are talking about how to eat simply for nourishment and not eat for comfort. So if that is something you want to know more about, then definitely stick around. I am Debbie Lichter, founder of Freedom Embodied Academy and Freedom from Food Addiction. And this topic today is very near and dear to my heart. Hey Kate, oh I'm so glad that you're here with us. So here's the deal. I remember countless years that I was giving everything to everyone else. Tell me if you relate to this, by the way. Tell me if you relate to this. Hey Dawn, good to see you too. So giving everything to everyone else, running around, trying to get everything perfect, being a people pleaser, putting everybody else's needs before your own. And then for me personally, I would get home at the end of the day and I'd be like, screw it. I want what I want. Food is my treat, food is my reward, food is fun, food is friendship, food is fulfillment, food is my ease and my comfort. If you relate to any of those things, then just put food as comfort in the comments, food as comfort in the comments, so I know that we are all on the same page here. That is what happened for me, and I would literally be like, I couldn't wait till the end of the day. I would start to fantasize about swinging by the store and picking up my favorite jar of extra chunky Skippy peanut butter on the way home, and I would start thinking about that. I'd be in the middle of conversations with people during the day, and I'd be like, I can't wait to go get my Skippy right after work. Yes, food is comfort. Hello, hello. Yes, okay, so we are all on the same page for sure. Yeah, I'd swing by and then, I would start to, I literally had a spoon in the middle console of my car for that very reason, that I would want to start eating right away. I didn't want to wait until I got home. That was how it was for me. And I was very possessive when it came to food. It was like my food. Like, don't get in between me and my food, ever. Don't bother me while I'm eating. This is my time. So that was the other thing too. Hey Ash, good to see you too. Yeah, Reese's Big Cup. I hear you, girl. I hear you. So here's the thing too, is if you get that sort of possessiveness around food, if you get that feeling of like, don't take away my fill in the blank, do not take that away. I remember a few years ago, there was a woman, Lori, who wanted to hop into my program, and she was like, Deb, I really want to work with you. I got my credit card, but don't take away my chips. And I was like, I so get it. I'm like, Lori, don't worry. I'm not going to take away your chips, because P.S., by the way, psst, when you start working with me, I don't make you give up your food, because the way that I see it is that you're going to do what you do until you don't have to do it anymore. And so we're going to talk in a little bit about some of the strategies for eating for nourishment instead of comfort that do not work. That's definitely something we're going to be talking about today. Today we're going to be talking about what to do instead, and I'm going to leave you with some instant strategies that you can start to implement right away to really help you on this path of eating more for nourishment, eating for fuel, and not eating for comfort or fulfillment or reward or friendship or any of these other things. And if you find yourself eating for other things, just put in the comment, like, what are some of those other things? Like maybe it's not for reward or comfort or friendship or fulfillment or for fun, or just kind of a filler, like to fill in the boredom. Hey Tara, so good to see you here as well. So glad that you're here. Yeah, so just, what do you find yourself going to food for? That's just a great place to start, just kind of really getting that awareness. What are all the things that I'm going to food for? And as you start to just think about that and put that into the comments, I want to talk about the strategy that just doesn't work. It just doesn't work to try and solve the food problem. And that is this. It's like the number one thing that I see people, the number one mistake that I see people making, and that is this: fixating on fixing your food, fixating on, trying to get your food under control, trying to moderate, trying to, make better choices. I hear people all the time, I'm trying to make better choices. I'm trying to meal plan. I'm trying to not have this in the house. And all that stuff is great. Don't get me wrong. All that stuff is really, really wonderful, but that's not actually addressing what's driving us to food in the first place. It's not getting to it. And so whether your solution is, I just want to try a little bite of everything, I want to be able to do this moderation thing, or I want to get things under control, and I just want to kind of, make better choices and have better discipline. Or another kind of like flip of that same coin is, I'm just going to be laissez-faire and just not, I'm just going to eat whatever I want, whenever I want, and, throw caution to the wind, because whenever I try to diet, it doesn't work. So I'm going to go into the polar opposite. That's what freedom is. Freedom is just not caring and just eating whatever I want. And I don't find that that works either. In fact, it's sort of like another strategy of trying to control food, even in its sort of like hedonistic pattern. And it's not really actually going to be the solution for lasting freedom and truly being able to have this relationship with food that is nourishing, that's fueling, where you find yourself eating only when you're hungry, and then when you're not hungry, you don't eat, and when you satiate, you stop eating. Like, this stuff, for people outside of this conversation, they might listen to this and be like, what are you talking about? Like, that's so obvious. For me, that's not so obvious. Like, I was not ever able to do that before. And if you relate to that, then this is the conversation for us to be in. This is your tribe. And there's going to be some tools that we talk about here today that are specifically designed for you. Because one of the things that I find that so many of us do is that we make ourselves wrong. We are trying to fix our problem with somebody else's solution. And that somebody else doesn't necessarily struggle with food in the same ways that we do. And so when you try to fix your problem with somebody else's solution and it doesn't work, then you start feeling like you're inadequate, or something wrong with you, or it's never going to happen for you, or you're just going to fail all the time. And I just want to say, no, time out right here. It's just been the wrong approach. It's been the wrong strategy. And I want to support you with some tools and tips today to get you aligned with the proper strategy, with the proper tools, and with the proper system and solution for lasting freedom. Hey, Ian and Elaine, so glad that you are here. Yes, so eating for boredom for sure, eating when you're anxious and sometimes bored, absolutely. And so you can imagine there's a kind of discomfort that goes on when you're bored. It's like, oh, I don't know what to do with myself, or I'm feeling anxious. There's kind of a discomfort that goes on with that for sure. These are some of the things that we find ourselves eating over. So let's talk about what drives us to food for comfort. What does? What's so important to understand in this conversation is what it really means to have a food addiction. And this is actually part of you gaining access to the real solution, is understanding, like, what's my real problem? So let's just talk about this for a second. And some of you have heard this before, but I'm going to say it again because it never gets old. We can always hear it again and again. Is that any addiction at all, is just anything that we do to distract or numb ourselves from an underlying discomfort and dis-ease that when we try to stop doing, we find that we can't. So it's anything that we do. So food addiction is when we go to food to distract or numb ourselves from an underlying discomfort and dis-ease that when we try to stop doing, we try to moderate, we try to control, we try to cut out, we try to be good, we try to stick to the plan, like whatever, we find that we can't. This is so, so important, because it really it helps you to understand why trying to fix things at the surface level of trying to figure out your food, and maybe I just don't have this in the house, and I'm just trying to be better, and I'm just gonna have, one like bread roll and not have the whole basket when I'm at a restaurant, and I'm gonna try to be better and make better choices when I'm out with people, and like none of those solutions are going to address the underlying discomfort and dis-ease. And so it's like trying to treat something at the surface level. And as soon as you treat something at the surface level, it's like, it's just, if you try to kind of get the food under control, then all that's going to happen is that pattern, that underlying discomfort and dis-ease is going to pop up in a different area. I want to hear what some of you are saying. Yes, when there's a decision you make, you're not sure of what to do. Exactly. Oh my gosh, this is so, so true, Dawn. So eating when there's a decision to make, you're not sure what to do. I want you to pause with that. By the way, I'm so excited for our breakthrough session later on. And we're going to be circling back to that, because that is a really, really important thing. And it's one of the examples that I'll give in just a little bit. So yes, absolutely. Breadbasket at the restaurant is my downfall. Totally. I know that thing. And then I even know the thing, you know, when you're at the restaurant and it's like you're trying to be good. And so you're trying not to have the bread, or you're trying not to be, but you can't stop obsessing about it. Like it's on the table and you're watching everybody else eat it, and you're watching everyone else like butter their bread, and you're watching everyone else do the thing. And you're just like, that's not, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But you're obsessed the entire time. And then when you order, then you're trying to be present, you're trying to be connected with people, but all you can do is think about, when is the food coming? When is the food coming? What time is it coming? And then when it comes, it's like, oh my gosh, there's still food on their plate. Why aren't they eating that? I want to eat that. Wait, maybe I should eating what they eat. It's like, we can't just be, right? We can't just be. If you relate to any of this, just say restaurant drama in the comments. Restaurant drama. Hey, Valerie, so good to see you. Because I really feel like I know that I'm not alone in this one. I know I'm not alone in this one. I've talked to too many people over the last decade to know I'm not alone in this one. Okay, so let's really talk about this underlying discomfort and dis-ease. Now, this underlying discomfort and dis-ease, it affects us in body, it affects us in mind, and it affects us in spirit. It affects us all ways. You know, when you have that discomfort and dis-ease going on inside of you physically, I mean, sometimes that just has you like not feeling comfortable in your skin. I remember so many times that I'm like, I want to crawl out of my skin, like get me out of here. It just felt so gross to be inside of myself. Or chronic pain, like actual pain or discomfort, or just not connecting in your body. I mean, I've talked to so many people, they're like, I'll look in the mirror, I don't even recognize who I see. It's like just like a different, I'm not even connected below the neck, I'm not even connected to that. I don't know what's going on down there. And so, you know, kind of living up in your head is part of the symptom. And I'll just share this because this kind of like bridges from the body discomfort and the mind discomfort, is that when you have that disconnect in your body, that actually has you feeling more anxious, more obsessed, more overwhelmed, right? Because all we're doing is we're up in our heads. And when you're up in your head and you feel disconnected and you feel separate and you feel like you can't help but not feel the sense of lack and impending doom. It's like all of our fears are just sort of like recycled around in our heads, and nothing like can land. There's no greater sense of like, I'm safe in this moment. And so we're just like mind chatter, constantly mind chatter up in our heads and trying to plan forward and thinking about the past and like never ever actually present. Here's the thing, is that you can't be present if you're not in your body. And so there's a lot that comes along with this, but also what comes along with this, and this also dovetails with the spiritual discomfort, is the feeling of not belonging and being alone. So that feeling of just being alone, being isolated, also comes along with this discomfort that goes on physically with us. Then we have the mental discomfort, like I mentioned, the overwhelm, the anxiety, the obsession, you know, the constant negative thinking. There's just sort of like, you know, sometimes like the brain fog, or, you know, just this constant kind of like negative way of seeing ourselves and seeing the world, the low self-worth. Not feeling like we can be authentically ourselves, so kind of holding back and playing all those games, all the things that we do, all the strategies that we do as a result of that, the people pleasing and, you know, trying to be perfect and all that kind of stuff, because we've got this story inside that we know we're not enough of what we're supposed to be, or we're not getting it right, or whatever. You know what I'm talking about, that constant mind chatter. There's a lot of discomfort that goes on with that, a lot of dis-ease, the anxiety majorly. And then there's also a spiritual component there. There is that underlying, like, I just don't feel okay and I don't know why. It's that underlying irritation, that agitation, that impatience, that annoyance, that restlessness, that angst, anger sometimes, that feeling of being alone. You know, lots and lots of things can fall into this category of what I call spiritual inflammation. You know, we talk a lot about physical inflammation. I think that there's spiritual inflammation. And when you have that going on inside, when you wake up in the morning and your eyes open and you're irritated before your feet even hit the floor, that is what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about, then just say spiritual inflammation in the comments, because we are definitely on the same page. Ian, yes. Tara, yes. Restaurant drama. You mean ordering seconds on the bready goodness isn't proper manners. I'm not saying it's not proper manners. I'm just saying that, you know, some of us have just a total obsession around the bread. That's all I'm saying, Ian. That's all I'm saying. So if you're relating to this underlying body, mind, spirit, discomfort and dis-ease, then just put discomfort and dis-ease in the comments, because this is really, really important. This is starting to get at what we really need to be doing to ultimately have food be one of nourishment and one of fuel. So, so important. So just, you know, kind of go here with me. I want you to go here with me. I want to share something with you, and I want you to tell me if this makes sense to you. So if we have this underlying discomfort and dis-ease going on inside of us that drives us for an external sense of ease and comfort that we find in food or Netflix or social media or attention or controlling or alcohol or smoking or, you know, fill in the blank, whatever it is, right? It makes sense that in order to get free from that pattern, that we need to cultivate an internal sense of ease and comfort. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, say, yes, that makes sense in the comments. Yes, that makes sense. Yes, oh good, Renee, I'm so glad that you joined. Good, and so glad that you're with it here. And Dawn, thank you as well. So it makes sense, right, that we need to cultivate this internal sense of ease and comfort inside of us. And so what I want to focus on with you today here is not some kind of like, you know, fabulous food strategy that, you know, you haven't heard of before, that you could go probably find 10 million people talking about online. I'm going to talk about what it really takes as a result of decoding my own journey of having freedom and lasting freedom from food addiction and obsession, and also just working with so many people over the last decade and really seeing what works. I want to share with you what I have seen. And that is this, pure and simple, is that what we need to understand what drives the discomfort and the dis-ease in the first place. And what drives that discomfort and dis-ease in the first place is something I refer to as incongruence. So incongruence is when your head and your heart and your gut, right? These truth centers, these power centers in your body, when they are not on the same page and they are conflicting. So when you have these truth centers conflicting, then you're acting out of alignment. So acting out of alignment is like, I'm showing up every single day to a job that I hate. That's acting out of alignment. I'm staying in this relationship even though that I know that it's over. It's acting out of alignment. I know that I'm here to shine my light to help more people, but I feel like a hypocrite. I feel like a fraud. And so I'm holding back and I'm playing small. That's acting out of alignment, right? You know, these things are acting out of alignment. Or I know that I need to self-care, but I put everybody else's needs before my own, right? Or I stuff my feelings, I put on a happy face, I don't speak up, right? These are all examples of incongruent patterns that have us acting out of alignment. So if you relate to incongruent patterns, if you relate to incongruence, put incongruence in the comments. This is so, so important, because when you are acting out of alignment internally, it has you living inauthentically in the world. And when we are out of alignment and inauthentic, it creates an internal sense of discomfort and dis-ease. It's like at a soul level, our soul knows, our heart knows, our gut knows that we are not living true to ourselves. And whenever we don't live true to ourselves, it feels sickening inside. Like if you have this deep desire, this deep gut desire of like, I want to put myself out there. I know I've got this light inside of me. I know I'm here to share. I know I'm here for something bigger. But then your head says, oh no, you're going to look stupid. You're going to get judged. You've got nothing to say. No one cares. You know, you need more training. Go get a second degree. Just wait more, wait a bit more. Whatever it says, it's like that feels very uncomfortable. Yeah, totally. Absolutely. The incongruence. Hey, Gina, I'm so glad that you're here. Yeah. So here's the thing is that, this is why, when I decoded my own process and really sat in meditation, and then like the system channeled through me of like, this is actually what's required. What came through was something that I call the Congruence Code. It makes sense, right? Because the Congruence Code is the system for cultivating that internal sense of ease and comfort inside. This is why when I'm guiding women through the Freedom Embodied Academy, I'm guiding them through step by step the Congruence Code. Because I found that, you know, women come to me saying, I want freedom from food addiction, or I want freedom from this obsession or this other addictive pattern. And I want to be able to just be authentically myself. I want to be able to feel comfortable in my skin. I want to have the confidence to shine my light, to help more people. Right? You know, these are the things that I'm wanting. I want to live my purpose. I want to be in alignment. I want to just be all of me. I want to have the confidence to put myself out there. I want to have meaningful relationships and friendships and romantic relationships. I want to have more fun. I want to have more joy in my life. If these things are things that you want, just say, I want that. I want that. Or maybe if there's a particular thing that I mentioned, say, I want that. I want to feel lighter inside. I want to feel more comfortable in my skin. I want to live from a deep place of inner trust, where I know I'm going to be okay no matter what. Right? Where I live by intuitive guidance instead of by what you think of me. Where my sense of ease and my sense of worth and value comes from deep down within me. Because that's what has us feeling free. When you cultivate this going on inside, when you cultivate that internal sense of ease and comfort going on inside you, you don't need to reach for an external sense of ease and comfort. You got it going on inside. Makes sense, right? You got it going on inside. And so this is how food becomes food. Food becomes nourishment. Food becomes fuel, because it doesn't need to be your source of ease and comfort. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? If that makes sense, just say makes sense in the comments. Because this is, yeah, I want that. Yes, absolutely. And so, you know, share in the comments what you do want. Out of the whole thing that I listed, I mean, what are some of the things? And maybe it's all of them. Maybe it's like, I want to feel comfortable in my skin. I want to know I'm going to be okay no matter what. I want to live free from food and other addictions that are holding me back. I want to feel lighter inside. I want to be able to trust, live from inner trust. I want to have healthy relationships, romantic relationships, and friendships. I want to live my aligned purpose in the world. You know, I mean, you get to call that out, because I could tell you right now that when you come into this internal alignment, when your head, heart, and gut are all aligned, when you are acting authentically in the world and you are living by that code of internal ease and comfort, because your sense of worth and value and identity is identified inside of you, anything's possible. Anything is possible. And this is the key. This really, really is the key to lasting freedom. Because, you know, what I love to do with folks is guide you through a process, a specific progressive process. And I know some of you who are in the academy are listening to this right now, so you just get to rest in easy, because you know that you're going to be guided through this stuff, so you don't have to worry about it. But you know, to go through this process whereby you get free and clear of all of the things that are blocking you from experiencing your lightness, from experiencing that comfort in your own body, from you know, having the confidence to put yourself out there, from like just all of these things, you know, just from that internal sense of ease and comfort, and I know I'm going to be okay no matter what, and accessing my inner guidance. This is the stuff you got to get free of, the things that are blocking your access to those things, and then you just get to experience those things as your reality. This is so, so powerful, because this is what allows you to naturally make healthy choices in your life, not just with food, but in relationships, in every area of your life. This is what allows you to make healthy choices. So what I want to share with you in a moment are some quick tips and strategies to support you in getting on that path of congruence. I want to read some of the comments here. I want it all. Yay, Gina. And I don't know if we're scheduled for a call, Gina, but if you or anybody else wants to hop onto a call, I know some of the ladies who are tuning in already have booked calls with me, clarity calls and breakthrough sessions, and some of the people who are tuning in are already in the Freedom Embodied Academy. But if this is calling to you and you want this, then I want to connect with you personally and have a specific conversation with you about what what it's going to take specifically for you based on where you're at to actually get on this path of congruence, to get on this path of freedom, to get on this path of internal ease and comfort, where you are aligned internally, you are authentic in the world, and you can just go and be you. If that is something that you want, please schedule some time with me. If freedom from food is something that you want, then please schedule a free from food clarity call session. Just go to freefromfood.today, freefromfood.today, grab a free 15-minute spot on my calendar, and let's just dive in together. If you already have a breakthrough session with me set up, then we're going to be able to dive even deeper. So don't go anywhere. But that's just a way that we can connect, and I can go a bit deeper with you and get really, really laser focused in a few minutes about exactly what it's going to take for you to get on that path and what those next steps are going to be. So, okay. So I want to get into some quick tips, and I actually wrote these down because I didn't want to forget them. I feel like, let me just share this. The Congruence Code is 14 gateways. There's 14 access points of freedom in the Congruence Code. It's something that I teach over an entire course of a year. And so I clearly can't go into every single nook and cranny of what that system entails, because every single gateway has three facets to it. And so it would just be an overwhelming amount of things for me to go into. So when I got quiet this morning, and I was like, okay, what are some of the things that I can support you with, that whether you are actually working with me in the Freedom Embodied Academy, going through the Congruence Code, or we haven't gone there yet, and you haven't hopped into that, what are some things that you can start to do right away? So this is for everybody, wherever you are on the path. These are always things that you can return to that will bring you to a more aligned, authentic experience internally, which will put you on that path of congruence. Okay, ready for it? Awesome. Good, Gina. Yay, good. Yay, Tara. Can't wait to get started. And Gina, awesome. I really look forward. I hope that we get an opportunity to connect. In fact, I've got some times on Monday, I even think, which is really cool because my schedule's been booked out for like 3 weeks, but I actually have a lot of time next week. Okay, so number one, sounds really simple, isn't always so simple, but I'm going to say it anyway, is to get honest, Now, honesty does not mean getting down on yourself. It does not mean condemning yourself. It doesn't mean all that judgment of like, this is the thing, is that honesty, truly getting honest, is actually meeting yourself objectively. It's getting real with what is. It's like, let me just take an honest look. And so an honest question to ask yourself is, how am I doing with my relationship with food? How's that working for me? How is the way that I'm being with food working for me? That's an honest question. And, you might say, yeah, it's not working real well. It's not working really well. The thing about honesty is that honesty done right will always take you to that next place of openness or willingness to ask for help. So honesty oftentimes couples with humility. And those two things together become such powerful, powerful spiritual allies, spiritual tools for you at the very beginning of your journey. And any time you're getting honest, even if what you're looking at does not feel comfortable in the moment, because you're looking at things that you maybe haven't wanted to look at a deep soul level, it actually feels good. At a deep soul level, getting honest like that, it's like you know that you are moving towards a deeper place of alignment when you're truly giving yourself the gift of honesty. And so I just invite you anytime, every single day I ask myself this. Every single day in my evening review, I'm like, where do I need to get honest? What do I need to get honest about? And when you ask that question, your soul will start to talk to you. It will. It'll be like, oh my gosh, I thought you'd never ask. And it'll just start to go. And what's important here is to not then take that and start to make meaning out of it and start to judge yourself and all those things, because that's actually not productive. When we get impatient with ourselves, when we say, I should be here and I can't believe I'm doing this, and we get all of that that's just a bunch of false pride that's keeping us blocked. And so that's not going to help at all. The best thing that we can do in those moments is embrace what is in this moment and then ask for help. And so asking for help, whether that's asking for divine help, whether that is asking help from a mentor who's been on the path, you know, who can help you along. It's like, that's what honesty brings us to. So that's an important tool here. The next thing, so big, is to follow your gut guidance. Follow that gut intuition. Your gut intuition is never leading you astray. Here's the thing about the gut intuition though, is that we oftentimes don't want to follow it. We don't want to hear it. And this is why. Because that gut intuition is oftentimes asking us to do something that our ego doesn't want to do. You know, our ego voice or our fear voice is like, you know, always trying to keep us comfortable. It's always the short-term comfort. That's what it's always trying to get us to do. When you really listen to your gut guidance, it's usually guiding you towards something that's going to create a short-term discomfort. Now, I want to clarify something, because this is not the same discomfort as the dis-ease and discomfort that goes on when you are not living in alignment. And I want you to pay attention to this, because I know that you know the difference inside of yourself. You know that feeling when there's something really expansive that's calling you forward, but then all your fear comes up because you're like, oh my gosh, this is asking me to jump into a completely uncharted territory, and all my stuff's coming up, and am I enough for this? And like all our stuff comes up. That is actually a really healthy kind of discomfort where you get a little hot under the collar, because what it essentially means is that the current mental construct, you know, your current mindset that's living in this current paradigm, it means its days are numbered, because you're going to be launching into an entirely new trajectory. When you leap into something that is outside of your familiarity zone, when it's in uncharted territory, it creates a little bit of that internal discomfort, but it's expansive. It's expansive. So like, for example, let me just tie it back to food, because I remember those first years of like really, you know, in those moments of really like using this set of next level tools that I teach my clients to not go to food as my default, right? You know, like in those moments, like you were talking, I can't remember now who was sharing it. I can't remember, Dawn, I think it was. Like when you have that discomfort, or, you know, when something's coming up, or you don't know how to handle something, or you're not feeling good about something, and then it's like that default to go to the food. I remember implementing this tool that then was like not going to the food. And I remember the discomfort that it brought up, you know, because it's like, oh my gosh, like I now just have to be with what is. I've got to be with what is. And now I've got to just handle it at that level. And this is such a golden tool. Like there's actually, these are all 3 tips in one. So, because it's following your gut guidance, right? So it's like, that gut guidance is like, you know that you shouldn't have that bag of Oreos. You know you shouldn't have one, because you know that if you have one, you're gonna have the whole bag. But then that like other voice is like, no, you can just have one. No, you deserve it. No, it's totally fine. No, you gave everything to everyone else. This is your treat. Da, 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 da. You know, but there's like that deeper voice. It's like, you know, y'all know what I'm talking about. And so if you can follow that deeper intuitive guidance, you graduate into a whole new realm of being able to be with what is. This is what's really, really powerful, because getting real with what you feel is another tip I was going to talk to you about. This is all a part of that. It's like, what's really going on? Let me get real with what's really going on. It's part of the honesty. It's part of the feeling. It's part of the gut guidance. And here's what it's also a part of. It's part of a getting comfortable with the discomfort. So again, I'm making a huge, huge distinction, and I hope you're all with me here. If you're getting that there is a kind of discomfort and dis-ease that goes on inside of us when we are not living in alignment. And then there's a kind of discomfort that we feel when we are being called into a more expansive place, into alignment, right? And when, oh goodness, my light just went out. All right, well, we're all gonna be in the dark together. Is that okay? Can we all be in the dark together? And when we are able to get comfortable with being in that discomfort, your entire world will change. Your entire reality will change. These are like the keys to the kingdom, I promise you. Because you can imagine all those moments that you go to food for comfort, all those moments that you're going to food because you feel inadequate, or you don't know how to do something, or you're bored, or any of these things. All those things are a short-term discomfort. If you can get comfortable being in the short-term discomfort, if you can start to pull in some next level tools to allow you to be in that short-term discomfort, what it does is it graduates you into this next level place where you will actually access more ease and comfort. You will access more ease and comfort. I've seen it happen a million times, and I have actually experienced it myself. And so I promise you, these are some of the things: getting honest, following your gut guidance, getting real with what you feel, not stuffing those feelings, speaking your truth, speaking up, speaking your truth, and getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. These things, I promise you, will put you on the path of gaining greater congruence right away. So I want to know if that stuff was helpful for you today. I want to know if it landed for you. I want to know the biggest part of today, what really stuck out for you, and which of those 5 or 6 tools you're going to actually go and implement today. You're going to go and implement today. You're going to implement this week, and then feel free to tune back into this video and share and post about what you experience. So again, thank you so much for taking this time out, sharing it with me. Such an honor to be here with you. Again, if this called to you, if you want to get more clarity and get on your path of congruence right away and really find out if the Freedom Embodied Academy is a right fit for you so you can get access to the entire Congruence Code, then schedule some time with me. freefromfood.today is the link to grab 15 minutes of free time on my calendar. Sending you so much love, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye for now. Mwah. Yay!